Hey everyone, welcome back. It's BrowncoatNerd, and today I've got for you yet another cheetah review. Really hope I don't get any more of these so I can stop doing that. So this is, I guess you can almost say, a part 2 to my Beretta 85F. I can now easily safety check it now that I have my little bipods set up here. So what we got here is a Beretta 81. You're seeing these pop up all over the market lately. They're just everywhere. And in my opinion, it's a really great value for the gun that it is. I paid, what was it, $230. This was a hand select option. I will say that I'm feeling a little kind of gypped on the hand select. And I know a lot of people were saying that about this particular gun. Then, of course, you always have the comments of people, you know, like, don't you understand what surplus is? The problem was, as you may know, Classic Firearms, which is where I got this from, now has a social media page on Facebook. And there were tons of people sharing their guns, you know, hey, check this out. This was non-hand select, and they looked immaculate. And this one was really rough. When I got it. The rear sights here, which seemed to be a pretty common issue, was a lot of these had a lot of rust around the back of the slide here. And this one was no exception. I mean, even my FFL, he looked at this and he kind of looked at me and he's like, you said you paid hand select? He was like, holy crap. So this whole rear sight here was completely caked in rust. And I mean, it did clean it pretty well, but it took a lot of the bluing off with that. There's a little bit of rust down here. All of the rust cleaned off very easily, but it left no bluing underneath it. And it was just kind of frustrating knowing I paid an extra 20 bucks and I got something like that. Now, that being said, I'm still very happy with this purchase because for what this is, really 230 bucks, and you know, that's including the hand select, is a phenomenal deal. So, you know, I really can't complain too much. There are some people that got ones that were worse than this. So, you know, I just cleaned it up and I'm going to be happy. Although, you know, I'm still going to purchase from Classic Firearms. They haven't scared me away as a customer. But I do think I'm going to kind of lay off that hand select. Maybe I'll make another video about that. Just kind of going over my different guns that I've gotten from different companies, what were hand select and what were not. For the most part, you never really know if you're getting a better deal. But I have to say, this gun and my CZ-VZ50, I do have a video on that as well. That was a hand select. Just go watch that video and you'll understand why I'm kind of done with it. Basically, that gun had no bluing on it whatsoever. And, you know, I never bothered contacting, you know, customer support. You know, on Facebook, I think a lot of people did. They got refunded their hand select. I think some people even sent them back and got nicer ones. You know, and to me, like I said, it's the value. It's just not worth the hassle. I still got a good deal. You know, it's a little frustrating, but whatever. I'll still buy from Classic. I'm just probably not going to mess with the hand select anymore. And normally when I watch videos and I hear people say that, I am one of those guys going, God, don't they understand what surplus is? But I think this one just kind of finally was like, yeah, I feel like I'm just wasting my money there. And when I say that, probably not just necessarily Classic. I also order from AIM Surplus again. And like I've never really felt like I've gotten ripped off one way or another with them. But I think just in general, this has pushed me away from hand select from anybody. So what this is, it's part of the Cheetah series. Yeah, it's not one to stay on that holster at all. So what the Cheetah series consists of were models 81 through model 89, excluding 88. There was no 88. Guess they just never got around to it. And they range in calibers from 22 LR to 32 ACP to 380. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, there's quite a few videos specifically on this. Like I said, they're all over right now. But there seems to be a whole lot of misinformation going around about this. Now, when I did my video a while back, I believe it was about 2 years ago, on my Beretta 85F, this one is in 380. It is the single stack version. There already was a lot of misinformation on these guns. And I'm going to try to give you guys some clarity on that, and anything that I'm not sure about, I'm going to flat out, like I always do, just be like, I'm not sure about it. But like I said, I'm seeing a lot of confusion with this. So hopefully, I can clear that up. So getting back to this is a 12+1 round capacity of the 32 ACP. I believe they started making the Cheetah series in 1976. I got that information from Wikipedia, so they're wrong like me sometimes. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that Beretta no longer produces these. I shouldn't have touched it. Sorry. Beretta no longer produces these. It looks like they do produce them some, at least to a limited capacity, maybe not all of the models. But it just doesn't look like those are regularly imported into the U.S., or at least by Beretta USA. It does look like some other companies might be importing them, because every once in a while you'll see a batch of them new pop up for sale. And they're not cheap. They kind of go for a premium, which once again is an awesome deal to me for the price that these are going at. And that added benefit of just kind of the history, to me, I think that's cooler. So it's just an all-around much better deal. Let's see. The history of this particular one. I am in some Italian surplus groups. They have a pretty good community of surplus collectors in Italy. And from what I've been kind of hearing and, hitting the translate button with, these were old prison pistols. I kind of tried to find out information exactly as to why they believed or how they knew that these were prison pistols. Were only prison guards using these? Were these just popular amongst prison guards? Did the police also use them? I didn't really get any clarity on that. But prison guards definitely did use these. I don't know if that was, these were kind of exclusive to them. This particular one, let's see if we can get it to focus. My camera's being really weird on the focus here. It's got an AF, and you can look up online. For this particular one, the AF means it was made in 1980. So for me, that was also a bonus point. So I've always wanted to get a surplus gun from the year I was made, so that's kind of cool. You also can see some other proof marks around that as well. And then I was seeing a bunch of them pop up with this Cat 4 stamp on them. Once again, I didn't really get, a real clear answer as to exactly what that was. Some people are saying that's stamped on any gun when it's produced in Italy. If it's intended for the civilian market, which would be like, oh, so this wasn't a prison gun, this was, or a police gun, this was originally built for the prison market. But my understanding is these Cheetah series, if it is built for the civilian market, it will say Cheetah on the slide. And as you can see, this one does not. It says PB Mod 81, patented, Pietro Beretta, Gardone VT, caliber 7.65, which is European for 32 ACP, in case you didn't know, made in Italy. So there's no Cheetah marking on here at all. So that would tell me this is actually a surplus weapon and not built for the civilian market. So I'm wondering if this, maybe the Cat 4, is more so something that they put on a gun once it's retired from government use. That would make sense to me. So I'm thinking more along the lines that might be the reasoning of that mark, but I'm not 100% positive on that. So if you guys know a little more information, please absolutely comment. Part of this is for me to share information I know, and also gather information from you guys that I don't know. And you guys have done that a lot, and I've gotten a lot of great info, and I really appreciate it. So this particular holster I've got here, I got this from sportsmanguide.com. I've ordered several things from them. This is not a holster specifically for the 81. Once again, from my understanding, this holster was used by I'm getting ready to do some Italian, and most of the Italian I know is pretty much fragile, which is to say I know no Italian. This holster was made for the Guardia di Finanza, or GDF. And basically that was the police force that was in charge of like financial crimes, smuggling, and drugs. So just a little bit of background information on there. This holster was possibly made from the late 80s to early 90s. I got from one guy. I'm not sure exactly how he knew that in the pattern. But that's, might be a possibility there. And if you look, let's see. Nicoletta, I found your holster. So I did some research on Nicoletta and the GDF, and believe it or not, guys, I actually found out some information about old Nicoletta here. And basically what I found out is Nicoletta cannot decide where the hell to put his name on the holster, so he just put it everywhere. Yeah, that's all I found out. So I thought that was pretty cool. This does have a mark here, but it does work pretty well for the 81. Now I know this is not 100%, accurate holster, but it's pretty rootin' tootin' close. It is a little bit of a snug fit, but she does fit in there just fine. But you don't want it to be too loose. Just want to show you guys this will actually go in here. So that's what you end up with. Got this little clasp. It did come with another, it was like a white leather strap with a ring on it. I think it was attached to this for whatever reason. So if you're wanting a close to proper holster, Sportsman Guide does have these. They have several different options for you. They have some with like little mag pouches. Although all of those look like those are built for the single stack mag, so just keep that in mind. That's why I went with this one. They have a bunch of canvas ones in like white canvas. And then I got this one here for my Beretta 85. I imagine this will fit just fine with the slightly thicker grips. So, okay, that's the first thing I'm going to touch on, the misinformation about these guns. That fits in there okay. I got this one. I believe this is the military holster, because from my understandings, it's got the PM mark. It's also got an Arsenal mark here, the fat, which you cannot see. I don't know what's going on with my phone, guys. Sorry. So I went with kind of the more military style holster, and I'm not sure exactly what gun specifically this holster was made for, if it's just kind of a generic one, or if it was police or military, but that's why I got that one there. So you got a couple options. I don't know if I said this, but they also have them in like white canvas. So I think those are kind of like the parade models. Once again, some of those do have that little pouch for the extra mag, and it looks like those are all single stack. So if you get a double stack Beretta series model, just keep that in mind. So pretty much all of the Beretta 80 series, you're going to get a model in single stack and double stack. And one of the things I've seen a lot on videos was people talking about how it's stupid to even buy one of these in a single stack, because even though it's a single stack, the grip on both of these is the same width. I don't know where they're getting this information from. I don't know if they looked at a single stack and saw how thick those grip panels were and like, oh, you can easily get a double stack mag in there. But they are not the same. It's not a big difference, but it is a difference. And I've seen so many freaking videos comment about that, how Beretta is so dumb for even making a single stack. No, you're dumb. You're wrong. So this is, 34.25 millimeters. These probably aren't the most accurate calipers, but it's going to work for what we're doing here. And then these are 30 millimeters. So it's not a huge difference, but the single stack definitely is thinner. And, just holding this, you're going to be like, okay, that's comfortable. I don't need a thinner one. But when you hold the single stack one after holding a double stack, it's a very obvious difference. And also, it's all going to matter on, what your purpose of getting this gun for. I know it's going to come up conceal and carry about this because of the size. And then people are going to be like, oh my God, it's 32 ACP. Don't do that. And while I would agree, there are much better conceal and carry guns out there than military surplus. I go to the school of do as I say, not as I do, because my daily carry is a Polish P64. Are there better guns out there? Yes. Do I eventually plan on getting one? Yeah, sure. But I love and collect surplus. Now, typically people say don't ever go under 380. for conceal and carry, and I would kind of have to agree with that, although, you know, something's better than nothing. I've concealed and carried this. I kind of purchased this gun with that in mind, but I still love that P64 because it's so small. Now this one's 32 ACP, so I would highly recommend not using this as a conceal and carry gun. Have I used this as a conceal and carry gun? Well, yeah, I've used it because, you know, I collect surplus and do as I say, not as I do. Now, just while we're talking about it, if you are intent on carrying this as a conceal and carry gun, or maybe you're recoil sensitive, which this is a great option for you because this thing has a recoil of like a 22. It's really great. I would definitely recommend using the Underwood ammo. That seems to be really the best option, especially for 32 ACP. I have not fired any of the Underwood through here, so I can't tell you 100% if it does function. I have seen other YouTube videos of people using Underwood in this specific gun, and it seemed to work just fine for them. I have also found some of these cute little baby hollow points. This is PPU 32 ACP hollow point here. And these function just fine. There is no hangups whatsoever. I don't know if I'd recommend using a hollow point 32 ACP. People always talk about, you know, you want as much penetration as possible in a lower caliber gun like that, and there's definitely some merit to it. So just letting you guys know, I saw a box, I had to get it for poops and grins, and it works just fine in this gun. So, trigger pull. Once again, I've got a digital lineman trigger pull gauge. I feel like I'm getting really light readings on it, or maybe I'm just getting lucky and getting some really nice guns with really nice light trigger pulls. But I did an average of 5 on the double action. Now, when I did it on the double action, I did not leave the hammer down like that. I did pull it back a little bit so it's not resting on the firing pin, which is, you know, how you would carry it. So average of 5 on the double action, I got 4 pounds, 11 ounces, which I thought was pretty impressive. And then on the single action, the average of 5 pulls was 2 pounds, 2 ounces, which is killer. I mean, it feels that light to me. I have a feeling my lineman trigger pull gauge might be a little off because I feel like that's too good to be true there. So just full disclosure. Another thing that goes around with a ton of misinformation on this gun is people do not realize, you know, if you say you got an 81, they're like, okay, cool, you got an 81. All the 81s are the same. No. On top of the 80 series, you know, having the 81, 82, 83, all that jazz, within most of those, not all of them, but pretty much all of them, you have like additional modifications throughout the year, so that added model numbers. So this is a model 81. That's it. No additional letters or numbers or nothing like that. Then they came out with the 81B. Now what the B had was a firing pin block, hence the B. And then they added serrations, and I always get this turned around. I can't remember if they added more serrations on the slide or if they ended up adding serrations on the front and back strap. Then they came out with the model BB. And then that was the other part of the serrations. I think it was the slide serrations on the B, they added more. And then on the BB, they added the front and back strap serrations. So what I'm talking about here, these are your front and back strap serrations that would have been added to it. And you can see on the slide how the serrations are, you know, they go on longer. So this is kind of giving you an example of what I'm talking about. Sorry about my voice, guys. I think the allergies are really getting to me. So we have the B, the BB, and then there's the F, which essentially is this. So you're going to see the gun slowly transform into this. Now the additions with the F are the squared off trigger guard here, with serrations on that. These have a 2-dot rear sight, whereas your standard one is just, you know, your classic plain old iron sights, much like you see on the 92S. I'm not sure when they added these sights, guys. It was either for the F model or the BB. I was thinking it was one of the additions for the F, but I've also seen some sources say it was added during the BB modification. So, yeah, I'm not sure on that. Also, a big difference, as you can see, is the finish they've used here. This is more of a matte black finish, like what you'd see on a modern Beretta 92, whereas these were the classic blued. You know, people are going to have a different kind of taste preference on that. Now, a lot of times when the Italian armories would re-arsenal these guns, they were given a phosphate finish. So you might see some of these older ones with more of a kind of a flat gray phosphate finish. It's a little bit different from this finish. It's very similar though, so that might cause some confusion. Another thing I forgot to mention, on the B, once they added that firing pin block, the see here on the original one how the top of the, come on camera, the top of the slide's very rounded, right in front of that rear sight. Well, this change came about, I believe, during the B or the BB. You see how it's kind of got a flat top there. And I would imagine that's because of the internal change with the firing pin safety. So you've got that. Also with the F upgrade, we got away from, so this gun, you got a safety. You put the safety on with the hammer down. You can pull the hammer back and put the safety on so you can have it cocked and locked. When the F came out, they got rid of that. If you got the hammer back and you go to put the safety on, it will decock. So you can no longer carry it cocked and locked. Now, one of the misinformation things I've seen on these, and I addressed it on the video for this gun here, is I see a lot of times people say you can carry these cocked and locked. Safety's all the way down, hammer's back. If you put the safety up, you can clearly feel it kind of pop into a half notch. And like, and that's how you carry it cocked and locked. No, it's not. That's how you shoot yourself in the groin. Don't do that. If you're going to carry this thing with a hammer back on the F or FS models, you're just going to have to decock it. Or, you know, put the safety down and carry it with the hammer down. I will point out, when you decock it, it raises this up a little bit. So you still kind of have the function of the hammer not resting on the firing pin there. So that's a big change. And I'm thinking that the reason that people talk about this gun being able to be carried cocked and locked is they don't realize the earlier models you could. But that changed. That, you know, it's not a universal across. Another little thing, I'm not sure when this change happened, but when the safety's on, that was a little concerning. I was like, whoa, how far is that going to go? As you can see, you know, I still got some pull. I'm still operating that hammer. I believe this came about on the F models. It may have come about on the B or BB models. But when the safety's on, that trigger is just completely disconnected. So it's a definite added safety feature. And then, of course, on the FS model, I don't think I got to that. Visually, it's the exact same as the F. It's just they added even more internal upgrades. Another thing, I believe only the original series, they has this length of extractor. They shortened it a little bit on the B, and then you can also see there's a little hole. So more little, you know, subtle differences to kind of spot out. Also, I noticed this for the slide lock. You got this little notch here that it locks into. Whereas on this gun, it's like, holy crap, where's your little notch? Well, it's there. It's just this like milled into the slide rather than like cutting out that whole piece. Not sure why they did that, but they did that. All right. I think I covered all the different models there. Once again, like I said, I think that's the root cause of a lot of misinformation. People don't realize that there's so many kind of little sub-models within the 80 series. I will say, if you're looking at one of these, you'll notice two different kinds of grips. You have this one, which is the kind of very traditional Beretta 92S looking grip. And the 92S, you can either get grips like this where it's smooth up top, or you can get them where this checkering goes all the way up top. And they changed that later on. And you'll find the 80s or 81 series, you have those same two different grip options. It's like the same plastic material. The early ones are smooth up top. Later on, at some point, they added checkering all the way to the top. And I will point out they changed the plastic material of the grips when they switched from the BB to the F model. I believe that's when they changed. And you'll see these have a more kind of, a little more durable looking matte plastic on them rather than this shiny stuff. Let's see. I will point out importers. Thank you. Thank you so much, PW Arms. Pat yourself on the back. I really feel like they're becoming savvy to where they put these import marks. I'll talk about this in my review for the Yugoslavian M57. They put it in the same spot. This one's even better. It's the same spot. It's this really nice. It's not that crappy little dot matrix laser crap. It's like it's lasered etched in there, but it's like printed. It looks nice. And I did see a video of a guy going over this with Aluma blue, I believe it's what it's called. It's kind of like cold bluing for aluminum. And I will say, you need to look into this yourself, because people can be like, oh, don't do that. My understanding is the import mark, once you buy it, you can cover it. If the imported gun was given a new serial number, I was kind of looking around to see if I had any that were like that, but I don't. Not within arm's reach. You cannot cover up that new serial number. Do not mess with the serial number in any way, shape, or form. But my understanding is you can get rid of the standard import mark. Laws might change from state to state. You know, if that's something you really want to do, I highly recommend you looking into it for yourself. I am not a lawyer. I'm not even an internet lawyer. So just putting that out there. Another thing I've noticed on the double stack models of the 80 series, the magazine release is you can swap it out. So if you're a lefty, no problems. But I've noticed it looks like all the single stack versions, it's for righties only. Sorry, lefties, even though the safety's ambidextrous. So it's pointing that out. My personal experience with this gun, it's very fun. I'm not really a fan of low recoil guns. I used to have a 22 semi-automatic rifle. I think it was like a Mossberg, the 510 Sport. It looked like an AR-15. And it is a little cheap gun. It was fun and accurate, but I just got bored with it. Also, I had a Ruger Single 6, little 22 revolver, very well built, classic looking gun. Excuse me. But once again, I just, I was like, bored with it, ready for the next thing. So I bought, this is my third 32 ACP. I believe the CZ was the first, the CZ VZ50 was the first, and then the Zastava M70 was my second. And what I discovered with 32 ACP, for whatever reason, I don't know why, it's very low recoil, but I just get like a kick out of shooting. It just puts a grin on my face, and I can't explain to you why that is. It's like I said, shooting this thing, it's like a 22. It's very low recoil. So if you're recoil sensitive and that's something that's a big issue for you, and you want something with a little more thump than a 22, I guess this would be a great option for you. The reason I got the gun is, well, I'm addicted to Italian surplus. I really like the Italian stuff. It's almost got like a romantic, I don't know, aurora to it. It just draws me in. Obviously, I like my Yugoslavian stuff and my Czech stuff. But the Italian stuff just kind of pulls at my heartstrings just a little bit more than some of the other country surplus out there. So when I saw this come out, I had to get it. Plus, it's a 12+1. That's an extremely high capacity for a 32 ACP gun. I just kind of thought that was kind of fun and cool. I've had no malfunctions with it. Let me think about that. Yeah, I've had no malfunctions. I've shot, I think like a little over 150 rounds through it, and I've shot the PPU hollow points. I've shot a bunch of Aguila stuff through it, and I did have some like Winchester White Box 32 ACP. I can't remember if I still had any of that for this guy. The Zastava and the CZ may have ate up all the Winchester ammo. But so I've definitely ran Aguila and PPU through here. No issues whatsoever. And it's a pretty accurate little guide. I got this gun 2 years ago. And I've never shot it a bunch. I've never been the happiest with its accuracy. I don't know part of it if it's because the sights. I kind of feel like I'm not using them right. And then, I find another gun, I buy that, and I shoot that a bunch, and it goes on and on and on. So I don't really have too much time to spend a whole bunch on one specific gun. But this guy was very accurate. I was very pleased with it. This is one of those guns like you get, and you're like, okay, you know, how soon can I get out to the range again next time, because I'm all ready to go shoot it. That's kind of how I felt about this. And I was kind of looking around at different countries that used this. And I will say I found out Slovenia used one of the Cheetah series, one of the 80 series. I don't know if it was the 81 or which one. So it's like, cool. It fits into my Italian surplus collection and maybe my Yugoslavian collection a little bit. Okay, so maybe that's a reach. But yeah, if you guys are looking for a fun little shooter with a little bit of history, this is a great option. The price is killer. You know, it's not my first go-to for home defense or self-defense, but for some people that are recoil sensitive, this is a very good option. It's a very quality built gun. It feels nice in the hands. The frame is aluminum, so it's not too heavy. I feel like this is actually probably lighter than my Zastava M70, which is much smaller in a single stack. It just feels really nice in the hands. So I think that's all I've got on this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. If you didn't, feel free to unlike and subscribe if you want. But thanks for watching. Stay shiny.